If Dix had been born 10 years earlier, he'd have been laughing. A football generation ago, X-certificate tackles often went unpunished and hard men could make hay. Undisputed masters of football's murky arts in the late 80s were Wimbledon. But their leader wasn't Vinnie Jones. Instead, it was the man who broke an opponent's jaw within 15 minutes of his club debut. John Fashanu.
These things could be wrapped up in euphemisms, but I would think that a lot of players played against John wondering if, either by accident or design, they would come off facially damaged by an elbow or physically hurt in some other way.
Now Goodyear played in there. Oh, pushed away, Fashanu! A lot of people running and I had it tonight.
I studied the martial art for nearly 16 years and got to a very high standard. So it gave me a lot of mental discipline. And contrary to belief, when you're dealing with somebody like myself, we are actually pacifists and don't like violence.
The Wimbledon spirit was, someone does a foul on your mate, you do a foul back on them. Even if they've not directly fouled you, you will take revenge collectively. They call it the Wimbledon spirit, some of us call it Neanderthal, hod-carrying filth.
A lot of the older players will talk about this thing where they used to call one of the players the enforcer, the governor. We had 11 governors. We had 11 enforcers.
Fash was a bully, and once he got on top of people, that was it, you know. He used to keep on top of them, keep on top of them, keep going at them.
But for Fashanu, the physical struggle was only part of the picture.
Apprentice would come to me at 2 o'clock, information on the referee. Your name is John Smith. You have a child whose name is Sally. You have a son whose name is Ben. Ben likes football. Your wife's name is Jill. That's all I wanted to know. Where do you live? Okay, lovely.
Oh, John Fashanu, great character. I was always wary of John.
Because at 5 to 3 or quarter to 3 when we go out, I want to be able to say, hello, Ben, all right, mate? Is Sally all right? Send my love to Sally. Okay, yeah, good.
Brian Hill's appearance tonight, a reminder to Wimbledon of their finest hour.
Oh, Brian, baby, good to see you. Oh, good it's you today. Oh, we should get a good game, we should get a fair game.
And 5 minutes later, I knew, and you still had that in your mind, I might hit somebody so hard, he wouldn't know whether he's coming or going. Chances are you'll give me a Fash, hey, take it easy, mate. You'll give me a verbal warning.
First real signs of a flare-up.
And then he would shrug his shoulders. Me? No. I would, Brian, baby, you know I wouldn't do anything like that.
Fashanu stepped in and has now disappeared from the scene of the crime, but he's going to have to go back.
I'll help you all I can through the game. What he's trying to do is to con you as a referee to try and put pressure on you to get decisions out of you.
Strong words, but not a card.
It's easy to go out there and give yellow and red cards. That is easy. The difficult part is going out there and man-managing 22 players.
Oh, that was a nasty challenge by Vinnie Jones, and the first free kick given against him.
Vinnie would go in, do a tackle where he's a little bit late. Referee would come screaming over to me, Fash, sort him out, otherwise I'm going to send him off.
But I'd also like to think, if I'd got a problem with one of his team, I'd say, oi, John, get a grip of him. I'm going to have to do something. If you don't do it, I'm going to do it.
And I would then scream over to Vinnie, making it very showbiz, so it looked good so the crowd could see I was shouting at Vinnie. And as I was shouting at Vinnie, I'd be saying, keep doing what you're doing, Vinnie. Keep doing exactly the same, mate. But of course, from a distance, everybody thought I was shouting at Vinnie and giving him a rollicking. And it always used to work.
Man management again.
Sharp of both mind and elbow, John Fashanu is our number 9. In part 2, we'll look further back to even more uninhibited times when players were able to settle scores on the pitch and the most heinous crimes went unpunished. During the 90s, football was overhauled to protect skillful players. referees were forced to apply the laws to the letter. 3 times more red cards were shown at the 1998 World Cup than 4 years earlier.
I think of myself as one of the old guard in that, you know, when I started playing it was, you could kick out that move really. That has definitely changed.
Players used to a free rein had to adapt their style or face the consequences. Before the changes, no such worries blurred the thinking of the game's bad boys.
Look at this. This is disgraceful. It's a free-for-all.
But opponents thought hard and long before crossing our next bad boy. A virtuoso Scot once described as a Renoir with a razor blade. Teammates were more bothered by his reputed vanity. Fellow Scots international Archie Gemmell said if this player was chocolate, he'd eat himself. Joining Roy Keane in midfield is the hard man of the 80s, Graeme Souness.
He was a tough cookie, and don't have any doubts about that. I mean, his tackling. I mean, in many ways, I think he bullied people a little bit.
When I played, we were all competitive. We all stood our corner, and we could play football, but we could also deal with the other side of things.
Difficult man, arrogant.
Souness is in trouble here.
Not one of my favourite players because I felt he could be hard and he could be a snidey sort of player that would go behind your back.
Souness up above Arnold. Here's Brotherston, who was caught by Souness. And Graeme Souness will have his name taken.
He was a bit of a bad lad at times in his tackling.
Sort of 3 feet off the ground.
Now he looks like a kind of Italian film director. Doesn't look like a clogger. He hasn't got a broken nose like that and teeth missing. He looks fantastic. And yet he was the most cynical fouler.
We've all been guilty of going over the ball. I think I would have done that in retaliation for something I felt was out of order.
Mabbott.
He was clinical in a way. He was almost seemed to be targeting the bit of the limb he was going to get.
There have been 1 or 2 nasty incidents in which Graeme Souness has played a part.
You know, you learn very early on that you have to look after yourself in the game of football. And sometimes going in an open fashion, as you do when you're maybe 19, 20 and you come out, or you come out and you're still lying on the ground at the end of the tackle, I think you soon learn to take care of yourself.
How do you feel if you actually go into a tackle, I mean, innocuous or whatever, but and the other person ends up getting hurt in it?
Well, you don't take pleasure from it unless there's been, you know, there's been a problem with that individual before.
Souness started at the top in management with Glasgow Rangers in 1986, where his combative leadership transformed the club's fortunes. He's managed 6 sides since with a rod of iron.
He wanted to win bad, and you know, you could see the way he played. It's gone into his management now that losing, or you know, drawing or losing's no good. You have to win this game.
I don't think we need to explain what he was saying to the referee there.
Footballers generally take the piss out of the manager behind his back. I mean, yeah, even Fergie they take the piss out of. I bet you no one's ever taken the piss out of Graeme Souness.
Souness, the manager, still settles scores when he feels he has been wronged. 4 years ago, when he was in charge at the Turkish club Galatasaray, a director of arch rivals Fenerbahce made the mistake of kicking Souness when he was down.
I joined Galatasaray a couple of years after I'd had open heart surgery, and one of their directors, soon after I joined, had written a story in the newspaper saying, you know, what are Galatasaray doing? They've employed a cripple. There's a picture of this guy, and 9 months later we play him in the cup final. Dean Saunders got the winner in the last minute of extra time. I looked up to the stand and I saw this man's face that had called me a cripple 9 months before. And in the spur of the moment I ran to the centre of the pitch, planting this flag which went down like a lead balloon, as you can imagine.
4 fans were hospitalised in the resulting uproar.
You have to understand that we're in the entertainment business, whether the purists like it or not, but a bit of aggro on the pitch is bloody entertainment, unfortunately.
He was a Rottweiler on the pitch and still bares his teeth in the dugout. That's why Souness is player-manager of our Bad Boys 11.